Hello fans and friends, welcome to another video. My name's Keir Smith. For today's video, I'd like to talk about one of my favourite albums of all time. Today, I'm going to be talking about why I love Close to the Edge by Yes. I bought Close to the Edge back in 2007. I was 26 years old. I first bought it on CD and it was my second Yes album, with Fragile being my first. I liked Fragile. I wasn't blown away by it. I thought it was good. I thought the band efforts were really good. I wasn't over enamoured with the solo efforts. But there was certainly enough there to make me want to explore more Yes albums. But I got Close to the Edge almost immediately. It was big, it was brave, it was ambitious, daring. It was otherworldly. It took you on a journey, and it's an album that's been endlessly rewarding. And this is Yes' most celebrated lineup. John Anderson on vocals, Steve Howe on guitar, Chris Squire on bass, Rick Wakeman on keyboards, and Bill Bruford on drums, with Eddie Offord once again in the producer's chair. Close to the Edge was released on the 13th of September 1972 and has recently celebrated its 50th anniversary. I've been listening to this album now for nearly 15 years and it continues to delight with every listen. So with that said, let's get to the music and I'll tell you why. The album opens with the epic title track, a 4-part suite that runs at over 18 minutes long, but it's worth it. It runs with such a masterful flow. Starting with the solid time of change section, the peaceful sound of nature, the sound of the river flowing, the wind in the trees, and the birds singing. Then the band come crashing in from out of nowhere with a cacophony of sound, which John Anderson described as the sound of an express train hurtling forward. It all sounds hectic and chaotic, but then just before the 4-minute mark, the song settles into the main groove and John Anderson starts to sing. A seasoned witch could call you from the depths of your disgrace and rearrange your liver to the solid mental grace. And achieve it all with music that came quickly from afar, then taste the fruit of man, recorded, losing all against the hour, and assessing points to nowhere, leading every single one. John Anderson was smoking a lot of marijuana, reading the Siddhartha and throwing up these metaphors via mind-boggling lyrics that sounded so good. But let me talk about the band at this point, because the expertise and the finesse that each member shows as they weave their way through the breathtaking Total Mass Retain section is truly astounding. The combination of John Anderson's mind-expanding lyrical metaphors coupled with his ethereal and anthemic voice, Bill Bruford's skillful jazz fusion feel for the drums, Rick Wakeman's keyboard wizardry, Steve Howe's otherworldly guitar playing, and the surging power of Chris Squire's bass. Musically, it rarely gets better than this, and the harmonies are absolutely glorious. I really like that part around the 8.5-minute mark when the song calms down. Wakeman's chirpy organ gives way to that spacey, atmospheric passage that prefixes the gorgeous harmony from Chris Squire and Steve Howe. In her white lace, you can clearly see the lady sadly looking. It's sung beautifully, and then the vocals cross over against John Anderson's part. 2 million people barely satisfy. It's a wonderful lyric and an expression about the imbalance of the human experience on the planet. And that leads into the wonderful I Get Up, I Get Down section, where it slowly builds. And as Anderson reaches for that higher vocal, Rick Wakeman's pipe organ comes in to create a huge crescendo moment. It's such a powerful and emotional moment in the song. It's the highest of high points. It takes my breath away. And then the band come thundering back in via Bruford's fast drumming and Squire's gulping bass line. It's another remarkable passage that then leads into Rick Wakeman's superb solo and onto the final verses. And then the song builds again, heightening the senses up to the euphoric climax that is the Seasons of Man section. And John Anderson's vocals, especially here, are brilliant. Then, according to the man who showed his outstretched arm to space, he turned around and pointed, revealing all the human race. I shook my head and smiled a whisper, knowing all about the place. On the hill we viewed the silence of the valley, called to witness cycles only of the past. And we reach all this with movement in between the said remark. Close to the edge, down by the river, down at the end, round by the corner. Seasons will pass you by, now that it's all over and done, called to the seed, right to the sun. Now that you find, now that you're whole, seasons will pass you by. I get up, I get down. It's enormous, it's overwhelming. The lyrics, the music, the story it's telling, it all really hits you at the end. It's so hard to explain. You have to experience it. You have to listen to this piece as a whole. I simply say it's the ultimate listening experience. Close to the Edge took up a whole side of vinyl, so turning the record over, we get the second track, And You and I. This song is also split into 4 movements and opens with the sound of Steve Howe playing with harmonics on his 12-string acoustic guitar. And that gives way to the bright acoustic strumming alongside Rick Wakeman's Mini Moog synthesizer, and it creates this optimistic and uplifting feeling. But I really like the Eclipse part, led by Wakeman's swirling mellotron and Steve Howe's pedal steel guitar, and John Anderson's majestic vocal as he sings, coming quickly to terms of all expression laid, emotion revealed as the ocean made, as a movement regained and regarded both the same, all complete in the sight of seeds of life with you. He sounds like an all-seeing, all-knowing prophet, spreading the good news to us, his people. The Preacher, the Teacher section is a nice, jaunty, folksy tune before Chris Squire's crunching bass forces its way in. In the end, we'll agree, we'll accept, we'll immortalise that the truth of the man maturing in his eyes, all complete in the sight of seeds of life with you. And the song rebuilds to the brief apocalypse part that finishes the song off. It's another exceptional piece of music, a mini epic and a great song, clocking in at just over 10 minutes. And the third and final song on the album, clocking in at over 8 minutes, is the brilliant Siberian Cataroo. It opens with Steve Howe's free funk guitar-laden intro and Rick Wakeman's gliding Hammond organ, Squire's descending bass line, Bruford's shuffling drums, and I love the opening lyric as John Anderson sings, "Sing, bird of prey, beauty begins at the foot of you." I love the chorus, especially the harmonies around it, sublime. They're almost choral-like when you hear the line, "River running right on over my head." Steve Howe plays that excellent sitar-like electric guitar part, then Rick Wakeman takes over with that dizzying harpsichord solo. And then Steve Howe comes back in with that excellent slide guitar part and another sizzling solo, backed ably by the tight rhythm section of Bruford and Squire. And then the song calms down and highlights once again the vocal excellence of John Anderson. I really like that call and answer section when he sings Heart Gold, Lever, Soul Mark, Mover, etc. And then the song revs up and goes again, and those barbaric chants around the 7-minute mark, I love them, coupled with Bruford smacking the drums. And Steve Howe's doing some frantic guitar soloing around it. It's a big sound. And the outro is fast. Steve Howe playing another note-perfect guitar solo. This band, wow. Siberian Cataroo is perfection. The sum is greater than the parts. The band is on top form. 3 songs, Close to the Edge, And You and I, Siberian Cataroo. It's as good as it gets. Close to the Edge is a huge album for its songwriting and lyrical focus, the incredible fusion of musical styles and the captivating performances. The vocal layers, the harmonies, the richness of the production. It's mind-blowing. It's so good. And that's why I love Close to the Edge. So, calling all Yes fans, let us bask in the glory of this incredible masterpiece one more time. Please leave your thoughts on the album in the comments section below. And please give the video the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel. There'll be lots more to come. Thanks as always for watching. See you next time.